Kia ora and welcome back. This is chapter 18 from the book The Future of Learning. And in chapter 18 we're going to be looking at concept frameworks. And concept frameworks are about how we build and how we actually match up different ideas, knowledge and concepts into actually carrying out a task. And we're going to stick with the driving metaphor at the moment, and then we'll look at some others later on. In driving, there's a number of different concepts. There's a concept of steering, there's a concept of braking, there's a concept of parking, there's a concept of roundabouts, there's a concept of giving way, there's a concept of stopping at intersections and who gives way to whom. There's a whole raft of concepts, including unlocking the door, sitting in the seat, turning on the radio. All those things are concepts we've learnt and we've automated them into a pattern which we call a concept framework. Now I want to go back and just refresh our memories around memory, because in that conversation around memory we talked about the fact that memory is not like a computer memory. We're not recalling perfect memories. All our memories are tainted by our experiences and time, and we recall our memories differently depending on the context we're recalling them in. And so if I was to ask the audience, for example, to all draw a $5 note, $5 bill, whichever country you come from, if I was asked you to draw that right now, how well would you do? I mean, everybody knows that note. We use them all the time. But could we actually draw it? And the answer is no. You draw a sort of representation. There must be a 5 on there somewhere. There's a bit of a plasticky bit here. But I can't actually do that. And because you can't actually see the picture in your head, as we talked about earlier, you can't actually recall the image completely at all. And in fact, you'll be surprised how little you know about the $5 note, even though you use it all the time and see it all the time. Right? You don't take cognizance of it, you don't interrogate it every time you use it. So when we're talking about memories and when we're talking about building these concept frameworks, we're talking about several things. The first thing that's really incredible is that the brain doesn't produce a new idea for unlocking a car and then a different idea for unlocking a house, and a different idea for unlocking my bike lock, and a different idea for any other lock I might use on my safe, for example. We have a concept of locks and how to open them, and doors and how to open them. And we have one of those, and we reuse it in different contexts. We don't have an architecture around every single context. In other words, if I came to a car I'd never seen before, with a key, I don't have to learn how to use that. I know straight away what to do with it. There's a concept for unlocking the door. And so the brain is hyper efficient. It's the ultimate in sort of recycling. It recycles one concept or one idea and reuses it for many, many different contexts. And this is what happens when we build frameworks, conceptual frameworks. Conceptual frameworks are links, and the brain goes out and goes and gets hundreds, if not thousands, of different bits of knowledge, ideas and concepts, links them together temporarily for that particular time and point, and then disengages that, and then goes back and picks that again later on next time you step into the car, sit down and start driving. And so concept frameworks are automated. 90% of all the things you do in any given day are automated, especially if you're listening to this as an educator. If you're an educator, most of your day is automated. And if you sat down at the end of the day and someone asked you, what did you do today? You've got to really think about that and reflect on what you did. Because most of that work that you did during the course of the day is automated into something we call habits. And here we have a real problem. Habits are very hard to break. As an educator, to change the habits, and habits are these concept frameworks, you've automated them, you're not thinking about them. Habits are hard to break because literally you're not thinking about it. So when you sit down to a restaurant, you go to the restaurant and with all good intent you say to yourself, I'm not going to have dessert. Right? You think, no, I'm not going to do that. You sit down and you start eating, and eating is a concept framework about moving hands and the implements you've got in your hand into your mouth and selecting and grouping foods, etc. You do that automatically while you're talking to the person next to you. Right? Before you know it, you're halfway through the creme brulee when you suddenly go, I wasn't going to have dessert. You know? That is because you've got a habit of eating, and the habit of eating goes entree, main course, dessert, and possibly cheese and wine. Yeah? We are creatures of habit, more than you can ever imagine. So changing habits, and this is a real difficulty for educators because a lot of what we do is automated. Changing our habits requires huge amounts of concentration. For this reason, we really encourage educators to video themselves. And yes, I know, I'm doing videos right now. Do I want to watch these? No, I don't. No one likes seeing themselves on video, all right? But in terms of learning, it's the most powerful way of changing learning, teaching, educating, practice. Right? If you want to transition yourself from being a teacher into being an educator learner, then you're going to have to videotape yourself regularly and watch it. And eventually you'll get used to what you look like, how you sound, the dresses. You'll change the way you dress and think about that a lot more because you'll see yourself on video. All right? But what's important is we look at what questions did we ask? What strategies did we use? How much did we tell the child what to do as opposed to question them about what they're doing? Watching videos of yourself is the best professional learning you can ever do. Going to courses, yes, that's helpful, giving you new ideas, etc. But actually carrying them out in the classroom, the only way to do that successfully is to videotape yourself and watch it in the comfort of your own home. I often suggest to principals that they have a reward for this because the first 4 videos are the worst. You know, you just don't even recognize yourself. You don't like doing them. So usually after having done 4 videos, and don't post these to YouTube, by the way, that's a really no-go space. But once you've done 3 or 4 videos, you go to the principal and say, yep, I've done my 4 videos, and they go, fantastic, here's your box of chocolates or bottle of wine. Because after watching 4 videos of yourself, you probably need some chocolate or some wine. Right? It's not easy doing it. I guarantee it. Right? When we're young, we love seeing ourselves on video looking ridiculous. When we get older, we start seeing things which mirrors don't record particularly well. Right? We see ourselves as for what we are. But it is the best way to change behaviour. Once you've done 3 or 4 of those and you're feeling more comfortable and you've ironed out the silly things you do, then you can start sharing that with one of your peers, someone you trust, and you share each other's videos and look and critique from another person's perspective. Then you can have people come into your classroom and you feel even more confident still. So we're shifting what we're doing. These concept frameworks we build are amazing, but they also trap us in particular ways, shapes and styles of what we do. So we have to question ourselves all the time. That's why we come back to those competencies, and the top tier of competency there was identity. Why do I do what I do? And having those honest conversations with self, and then bringing your peers in to help you have those conversations and drive those conversations deeper. So thank you very much. Have a read of the text, see how you go with that, and then we'll come back with chapter 19. Thank you very much.